All right, good morning and welcome back. Today we are going to move into slope of equations and lines. So yesterday we talked a little bit about circles. Today we're coming to an end on this review stuff, but today we're going to talk about equations of lines. Okay, so first question here is, how do I find the slope? So if we have 2 points, we know rise over run. So if we think about a rise means how much does it move up or down? So that's the change in y. So our slope, represented by an m, y2 minus y1, all over x2 minus x1. The run is the change in x. Okay, now, if we look here, we have our x1, our y1, our x2, our y2. It doesn't really matter which one is which, as long as if this is x1, this has to be y1. They have to match up. They'd be lined up with their partner. If this is x2, this has to be y2. If you switch it, just make sure they match up with each other. Okay, so to find our slope, we'll take y2 minus y1, which is also negative. So if we subtract a negative, remember that will become plus 5. On the bottom then, negative 4 minus 2. Okay, what I'm saying is, right here, do you see a negative 7, negative 4? They line up. Negative 5 and 2, they line up. Those are partners, so that's good. So negative 7 plus 5 here gives us negative 2 over negative 6, which comes down to 1/3. Okay, and we are done. Let's move on to the next one. Same thing. We'll take y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now 2 minus negative 10 becomes 12. Okay, 12 over 0. Now, anytime we get a 0 on the bottom, we can't have this. If it's slope, then our slope is going to be undefined. This only happens in one situation. Think about it. It is when it is a vertical line. Okay, as you can see, the x value is the same for both of those. It's straight up and down. This would be a vertical line. Okay, now here, it asks us to find the slope of the lines in the graph below. We can just use rise over run to do this. So if we have a point, go up 2 over 2. So if we think about that, 2 over 2, which would reduce to 1. So our slope is 1. Now meanwhile on this, some of you are going to say undefined. But actually the change in y, it does not go up any. So that would be a 0. If we look at it, 0 over, now from these points it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 over 5. Could do 0 over 1, 0 over 10. It moves along this line. Okay, if it is horizontal, the slope is going to be 0. Okay, anytime you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0. It does not gain, it does not lose, but it has a slope of 0. All right, and finally on the front here, slope-intercept form. So if we have the slope and we have the y-intercept, we can write probably in the most common form when you're graphing y equals mx plus b. Remember that m is our slope. We said the b is our y-intercept. So this one has a y-intercept of 2. The slope up 1, 2, 3 over 1. So y equals 3x plus 2, and we're done. Now this next one doesn't have points here, but we can put a dot. Goes right through negative 3, goes down 1 over 2. So y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. And we are done. So we're moving along. The final thing we need to talk about now is something called point slope form. So sometimes, like on example 5, it says write the equation of the line passes through the point 3, negative 1 has a slope of 2. So if we're given a point and a slope, we can solve. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, that's our formula. So we look here, which one's our y? It's going to be negative 1. That takes the place of y1. So we'll have y minus negative 1 equals, then we put our slope, which is 2, and then x minus x1, which is 3. Okay, so that'll rewrite as y plus 1 equals 2x minus 6, and then we subtract that over. We're almost done. Y equals 2x minus 7. Final answer. Okay, a few more examples. This next one may be a little bit more difficult because the slope is a fraction. So we'll do the same approach, y minus y1, so y minus negative 5 equals 3/4 parentheses x minus negative 7. Okay, so we can rewrite this y plus 5 equals 3/4 x. That's going to be plus 7. Now, this one maybe you need to write over here 3/4 times 7/1. Remember, we multiply across the top, so 21/4. Okay, we're almost done. We would subtract 5. Now, if we subtract 5, we need, so 21/4 minus 5, but we need a common denominator. So 5, to get it to have a denominator of 4, we need to multiply by 4/4. It's going to give us 20/4. So minus that 20/4, and hopefully you can do that one. It's going to be plus 1/4. That's all that remains. All right. Moving right along, number 7 here. Now this time we just have 2 points. But if we have 2 points, hopefully you remember from the front, we have the ability to find the slope. So using our formula from the front, we can do y2 minus y1, so negative 1 minus 4, all over x2 minus x1, so 3 minus negative 2. We'll get negative 5/5, which reduces to negative 1. Now we just plug them in. You choose which point looks easier, either 3, negative 1, or negative 2, 4. I don't care. So you will get the same thing either way. I'm going to do y minus 4. I'm using this point, equals negative 1 times x minus negative 2. Okay, so y minus 4 equals negative x. Now minus minus becomes plus 2, but times a negative 1. So minus 2. We add the 4 over, and we are going to be done with y equals negative x plus 2. Now the final one we're doing, if you look here, this equation, just like we had on the front, should be easy, except it doesn't go through a nice y-intercept. So we can use our knowledge of slope. Slope should be easy to find. If we find the slope in one of these points, we can use the same method we just did here to solve for the equation. So the slope from this point to this point, down 1 over 3. Our slope, negative 1/3. Okay. Now, if we plug this in, I don't care which one you use, either this point or this point, either the 0.75 or the 0.46, it does not matter. So I'll use 7/5. So y minus 5 equals negative 1/3 x minus 4. Now we distribute. We'll get y minus 5, oops, that's a y, equals negative 1/3 x. Let's see. Oh, I did that wrong. I used the 0.75, so this needs to be a 7. Okay, so we multiply that, and negative times negative becomes plus. 7 times 1. If it helps you, you can do 7/1 times 1/3, 7/3. All right, so now 7/3, we need to add 5 to it. So plus, if we make a common denominator over 3, 5 times 3 gives us 15/3, and we will get 22/3. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 22/3. All right, that's all for today. If you want to think about this, 3 would go into that. That's about 7 1/3, which if we look between 7 and 8, or it is 7 1/3. So that makes sense based on where it goes. Hope you guys have a great day. Make sure you get on to Delta Math and get the assignment done. I'll talk to you later.